How is the Snoop-based coherence protocol implemented? So we'll take the same example, right? So what do you mean by Snoop-based coherence protocol? If one core needs to read some data, it will perform the request or it will put the request on the common bus, right? So this is a common bus, and whenever the cache controller associated with each private cache of the corresponding cores finds that a request is coming on the bus, what does it do? It will do, it will take the address transmitted on the bus, then the cache controller will check whether that corresponding address is present in their corresponding private cache, and if a match is found in their cache, what does it do? Cache controller will take the data from that cache, put it on the bus, so that whichever core it is requesting the data can take the data and keep it in their cache or memory. So why it is known as Snoop based? Because when one core is transmitting something, other cores will be snooping on the bus for the request. That is why it is known as Snoop based coherence protocol. And this will be useful only when the number of cores are around say 4 to 8 or less number of cores, right? If you are having more number of cores, then directory based protocol should be used. So what do you mean by directory based protocol? A certain directory or table will be maintained in the corresponding cache or say in the main memory or in the shared memory. So what does it contain? It contains the information about the block of data which is shared between different other caches. So if you are reading from the table, we will get the idea that this particular block is shared between say core 1 and core 2, or this is shared between core 4, like that. So from that table we'll get the idea that to which core we need to send the read or write request. Whenever you need to perform a read or write request on that shared data, we know to which all private caches or memory we need to give the request, so that either those memory locations can be invalidated or those memory locations can be updated based on the selected protocol, right? So even though you are calling it a Snoop based protocol, the underlying protocol remains the same, right? It will be either write invalidation or write update protocol. So we will take the same example. Here 4 cores are there, 4 private cache memories are there, all are connected through the bus, and each private cache is having its own table which is used for storing n-bit coherent state of each block, right? So if there are 100 blocks in this private cache, 100 entries will be there in this table. Each entry will represent the corresponding n-bit coherent state of that block, whether it is invalid or shared or exclusive, etc. So each block will be having its own coherence states that will be present in this table associated with the private cache. So let us take core 4 is trying to read some data from the private cache. From a particular location, it is trying to read a data. But it identifies that the data is not available there in the private cache, or that memory location is invalid. It finds out that data is not there, so that it cannot read, or that memory location can be invalid. So in both the cases, what will happen? It is a read miss on the private cache. So whenever there is a read miss on the private cache, according to the Snoop based coherence protocol, what does it do? This core, since it is a read miss in private cache, this will send a transaction on the common bus. So whenever a core wants to read the data, if the data is not available, private cache miss will happen, and the cache controller will place a transaction on the bus. Cache controller will place a transaction on the bus. What is the transaction known as? It is known as read-miss transaction. And what does that transaction consist of? That transaction consists of the address of the location or the block from which core need to get the data. That is known as read-miss transaction. Last class we have seen that either it can send the address in the case of write invalidation protocol. In the case of write update protocol, it need to send both the address and the data on the corresponding on the shared bus. So here, since it is write invalidation protocol, cache controller will be putting a transaction on the bus. That transaction will consist of the address of the location. So what will the other cache controllers do? Cache controllers of all other caches will snoop on the bus. That is why it is known as snoop-based coherence protocol. Because one cache controller is sending a transaction, the cache controllers associated with other private cache will snoop on the bus. All the other cache controllers will snoop on the bus and search for the address whatever it is sent in the transaction. It will snoop on the bus for what it is snooping. It will snoop on the bus and search for the search whether the address that is sent part of the transaction is present in their respective private caches or in the shared cache. So cache controllers of other private cache will snoop on the bus, it will get the address and it will check whether it is present in their own private cache or in the shared memory, shared cache. And if a match is found, what should happen? Say let us take in core 2. It was snooping on the cache controller was snooping on the bus. It got the address and it find out that that corresponding address, the data is present in core 2. So when a match is found, what does it do? The cache will respond to this transaction by invalidating or updating the corresponding data. So if it is based on the write invalidation protocol, this cache controller will respond to a transaction by sending invalidation request to other caches where the data is present. From where will it get the information that which all caches is having the corresponding data? From the directory. And those additional copies will be invalidated. If in our design you are using write updation protocol, the cache controller present in this cache will respond to a transaction by updating all the other copies in other caches or in main memory or in shared cache also. So based on the invalidation or updation protocol, the action will be taken by the cache controller of corresponding cache. And depending upon the transaction and snoop events, because this was a read-miss transaction, and each of the cache was performing the snoop, and whenever there is a match, that is known as a snoop event. So depending upon the transaction and based on the snoop events, state of each block present in that private cache will be changed by the private cache and it will update the transaction. The cache controller identified a particular address or a block in core 2 which is having a data. Let us take it is present in say exclusive states. So what does it do? Since it is a read process, that exclusive state has to be changed to shared states. Then only that data can be accessed by core 4. So corresponding to the transaction or based on the transaction and the snoop events, the state of the block present in different other caches will be changed. So this is how the basic protocol implementation is done. Then let us consider 3-state write back invalidation protocol. We have seen Snoop based coherence protocol. In that Snoop based coherence protocol, we are taking an example as my protocol is having 3 states. I am going to implement write back invalidation protocol. What do you mean by write back? If a memory is set to be in write back, that means when you are trying to update a particular data in a private cache. So if it is a write back cache, what will happen? If you are updating a data in private cache, that content will be reflected on the lower level cache only when the data present in upper level is removed or evicted from that private cache. When you are trying to remove the data from level 1 private cache, then only the updation will be taking place in the memory or in the lower level. So what are the three states? These are the three states. One is known as invalid state. Other state is known as shared state, where you can perform only read. And the last state is known as exclusive or modified state. That means we can either read or write on the state. So what do you mean by invalidation state? So a block is said to be in, because all the three states are available for the blocks. One block may be in invalid state, other block may be in shared state, some other block may be in exclusive state. Right? At a particular time, only one block can be in only one state. So a block is said to be in invalid state when we'll tell like that, if that block is not available, if that block of data is not available in the corresponding private cache, or it is in the disabled state or invalid state. So in such a condition, the other caches which is requesting for the data need to fetch it from the memory or from other cache, because the data which I am asking for is in a invalid state in my private cache. So how will I get the data? I need to fetch the data from from the shared memory or from other cache, because it is not available in my cache. Then what do you mean by shared state? It is only read-only state. So what do you mean by shared state? A block is said to be in shared state if the data is present in, or if the block is present in more than one cache and memory. If the data is present in the shared state, and if say another core need to read the data, if it is a read hit, what will happen? That block of data, that cache can read it without any communication on the bus. Similarly, third state is known as exclusive state or modified state. What do you mean by that? Here we can perform both the read as well as write operation. And a block is said to be in exclusive state if that block is present in only one cache. And if a processor is trying to read the data from the block which is exclusive, that processor can read or write the data without any communication, without providing any transaction on the bus. So since the data is available only in this block associated with the cache or with the core, other cores need to get the data from this cache. So next we will see the state transition diagram according to a three-state write-back invalidation protocol. So what are the states we have seen? Three states are there: the invalid state, shared state, exclusive state. So and in the last class we have seen that each block of data present in the shared memory or in the private cache will be having its associated state. Each block of data will be having its associated state. So based on certain conditions, the state of each block will be changing. So how is the state of each block is changing? We'll see now. So that is known as a state transition diagram for each block of data. And where will be the states stored? All the states of all the blocks will be stored in a particular table which is associated with the corresponding private cache as well as the shared memory. So now let us take the first case. Let us take CPU 4 is trying to read the data which is present in its private cache. Right? So when it is trying to read the data, it identifies that that block of address is not available in its private cache. So when it is not available, what will happen? Read miss will happen. It will not be able to read the data from the private cache. Why? Because it is a read miss. So when the score encounters a read miss, yesterday we told that what it will do? That core will send a transaction on the bus. So whenever read miss or write miss is happening, it will send a transaction on the bus. What type of transaction in our case? Read miss transaction. Read miss transaction on the bus. So whenever we are sending a read miss transaction on the bus, what will the others do? The other caches will be snooping on the bus. And in our case, what does this transaction consist of? Address of the data from which CPU is trying to read. Why? Only address is sent because we are using invalidation protocol. In the case of invalidation protocol, we need to send only the address. In the case of update protocol only, we need to send both address and data. What does the CPU tell? The CPU instructs the cache controller. So each cache controller will be having something known as cache replacement policy for selecting the particular cache, which need to be accessed by the CPU. So whichever cache or whichever block of memory that is accessed by the CPU is known as victim block. So CPU4 is trying to read a data from an address or a block. That address is known as, or that block of memory is known as victim block. So what will the CPU do? CPU will instruct the cache replacement policy of the corresponding cache controller to select the victim block, which is requested by the CPU. So what does the cache controller do? Cache replacement policy will select that particular victim block. Then what does it do? It will check whether or which state is associated with that block. So now let us consider that our victim block is in invalid states. Our victim block is in invalid state. So what you have done? You have sent the transaction on the bus and our victim block is in invalid state. So what will be the transition? That block should be changed from invalid to shared. Why you are changing the state of that block from invalid to shared? Why it was invalid? Because there was no block of data available in that address, or that address was invalid. But CPU is trying to read from that address. CPU cannot read from an address which is invalid in nature. So what you should do? We need to change it into shared state so that the CPU can read it. And since the read miss transaction has been sent on the bus, what will the other caches do? Other caches will be snooping on the bus, and it will check, each cache will check whether that address is available in their own private cache. And if a particular cache identifies that the address is present in their private cache, what does it do? It will send the data on the bus. It will send the data on the bus so that that data can be stored onto this corresponding address. Once the data is stored on the address, and since it is in shared state, CPU can read from that. So here when the read miss is happening due to the read by core 4 or CPU 4, read miss transaction will be performed on the bus, and the core, if it is in invalid state, the state will be changed to shared state. Then let us take the second scenario. Here again CPU is trying to read the data, but it is generating a read miss. Read miss is occurring, and it will place a read miss transaction on the bus. Then again it will ask the cache replacement policy to select the victim block. And here in our second case, we are considering that our victim block is in exclusive state. victim block is in exclusive state. So from the block, the CPU is trying to read the data. So what do you mean by exclusive state? A block is said to be exclusive if that is available to it is available to the private cache of that particular cache alone, or it is available to the private cache of that particular core alone. It will be available only in the private cache of that particular core. But here CPU4 is another core which is trying to read from that data. It is trying to read, CPU is trying to read, right? So how the reading will happen? In core 4, the data was not there. So CPU 4 should take the data from somewhere else, keep it in the private cache of CPU 4. Why the read miss happened? CPU 4 was trying to read from the private cache, but CPU 4 don't have the data. And that block is present in exclusive state. So since the data is not available, what does the CPU4 do? CPU4 need to get the data from another core and store it in its own private cache. So what will happen? The same data will be there in two blocks. So since that is the case, that block cannot be in exclusive state no longer, because the same data will be present in another core as well as in CPU4. Same data will be there. So we cannot keep the state of block as exclusive state. Then what will happen? The exclusive state block will be changed to shared states. So the block of memory which is in exclusive state will be changed to shared state. So that from another CPU the data can be taken and kept in the CPU4. Then one more thing you need to do it in this step. Since our block under consideration is in exclusive state, it may be having some other data, or it is known as dirty data. That data should be written on to the lower level shared memory. That data should be taken to the lower level shared memory. And since we are having write back cache, when will the data can be written to the shared memory or to lower memory? When that particular block is evicted. So since our block was in exclusive state, it need to move into the shared state. So before moving into the shared state, that particular block of memory will be should be replaced with the new data. So whenever the data is replaced, the previous data will be written on to the shared cache. That is known as write back technique. Right. So it will write back the dirty block, that is the previous data present here, to the shared cache. When it will perform? When the new data is coming, or when this block is removed from the private cache. So when CPU4 is having a read miss, it will place the read miss transaction on the bus, then it will perform the write back of the block from this state to shared states. Then let us take the third situation. So here again CPU4 is reading, read miss is occurring. So read miss transaction will be kept on the bus. But now my block of memory is in shared state. So what transition will occur? Nothing will happen. It will be in the shared state itself. Why? Whenever we are getting the data from another CPU, and if we are placing it in CPU4, since that block is in shared nature, CPU4 can read from it. And since it is, what do you mean by shared block? That shows that block of data is present in multiple CPUs. So if we are getting a data from say CPU 3, the block will be present there as well as in CPU 4. So there is no problem. So there is no change of CPU, the state of the block. So till now we are dealing with the read miss. Then let us take that in step 4. CPU 3 find out that whichever block which was asked by CPU 4 is available in its cache. So CPU 3 finds the read miss transaction on the bus and it identifies that the particular block of data which is asked by CPU 4 is available in its own cache. It find out that the data is available in its own cache, private cache. So what does it do? So when the CPU 3 identifies the data is present in its private cache and it identifies that the state of block is exclusive, what does it do? It should change the state from exclusive to shared. Why? Because we have already told if CPU 3 is having the data, that data will be read by CPU 4 or it should be sent to CPU 4. So once the data is sent to CPU 4, CPU 3 as well as CPU 4 will be having the same data. So according to the exclusive state, both blocks, both CPU should not have the same data. And if the data is exclusive to a particular CPU, one other core cannot read from the block because it is in exclusive state. Exclusive means it is accessible only to particular core. In our case, only to core 3. If core 4 is trying to read from exclusive, it is not possible. So in order to solve that problem, state of the block should be changed from exclusive to shared. So whenever there is a read miss or whenever a particular CPU finds out that the data is available, in both the cases, the state of the block should be changed from exclusive to shared. Then only the core which is trying to get the data will be able to read the data. That is step number 4. Then, and along with that, one more thing will be happening because CPU 4 find out the data is there. So what it should do? It should send the data. Then only CPU 4 can read. So what does the CPU 3 do? CPU 3 will write back the data to the bus. CPU 3 is having the data. So that data should be sent to CPU 4. It cannot directly send it. What it will do? It will write back the data to the bus. That is the required data to the bus. So that CPU 4 can read the data from the bus. Then what will be the fifth state? CPU 4 is trying to write the data. Till now we are dealing with the reading process and we have found out that in read process, finally the state of the block will be in shared states. So for read process, generally the block will be in shared states. So now CPU 4 is trying to write the data to a particular address location or a block and it identifies that it is a write miss because that block of memory is not available in its cache. So what does it do? It will place a write miss transaction on the bus. Previously we are sending read miss. Now it will keep a write miss transaction on the bus and it will instruct the cache replacement policy to select the victim block. So now we identified that that particular block is in invalid state. The CPU is trying to write to a particular address, but that address location is in invalid state. What we need to do? That address location should be changed from invalid to exclusive. Why? Because whenever the CPU is trying to write the data, that address location should be in exclusive state. That means that address location is available only to that particular block, a particular core. That location should be available only to the particular core. In our case, CPU 4. Then only it can perform the write operation. So whenever there is a write miss, and if that block of memory or address location is in invalid state, that state should be changed from invalid to exclusive. Then only write process can occur when the data is available. So now the data is not available, it has generated a miss. Then in the fifth case, again CPU 4 is trying to write, but the data is not there, so it will send a write miss on the bus. But in sixth case, our address location to which CPU 4 need to write is in exclusive state. Now the CPU 4 is trying to a location which is in exclusive state. So what it should perform? It should remain in the same state itself. Because we have already told that whenever the CPU need to write a data to a block, that block should be in exclusive state. That is, it should be available to the corresponding CPU. Then only write process can be done. So now, since the block of memory is in exclusive state itself, there is no need of changing the state because it is already in exclusive state. And what will happen? Since it is in exclusive state, in the case of read miss transaction, what we have done? Whichever data which was previously present, that is known as the dirty data, it should be written onto the shared cache. So similarly, if the CPU4 is performing a write miss, again, if the block is in exclusive state, some data will be there, which is dirty. That data should be written. Similar to the other case, it should be written onto the lower level shared cache. It should be written onto the lower level shared cache. So both operation, the state will not change, but the write back operation will be performed and the dirty data should be written onto the shared cache. Then in seventh step, what is happening? Seventh condition, what is happening? Let us take CPU4 is performing write, but again it is a write miss. So write miss transaction will be sent. And now we are considering that if the block is present in shared state, what will happen? So now we consider that our block to which write has to be performed is in shared state. So if it is in shared state, again the write process cannot be done. Write process can only be done if the state of that block is exclusive. Because in exclusive state only we can perform write. But now my block is in shared state. So what we need to do with the state of that block? It should be changed from shared to exclusive. So that is shown here. My block of data state will be changed from shared to exclusive so that when the data is available, write can happen. Then in the eighth situation, CPU3 finds out that the data which has to be written by CPU4 is available in its private cache. In step number 4, we have seen that CPU3 finds out that the data which has been asked by CPU4 for read process is available in its cache. So write back will happen. Right, the data will be written onto the block. So CPU4 can read it. So similarly, here CPU3 finds the data which is required by the CPU4 for performing write operation. So CPU3 will find a write miss on the block and it identifies that that block is available in its private cache. So what does it do? It need to write it on the bus. The CPU3 find out a write miss on the block and it find out that the data is present in its private cache. So ultimately CPU3 what should it do? It should send the data to the bus. So it should perform the write back of the required data to the bus. But before that what it should do? It identifies that the block of memory from which it has to read the data is in exclusive state. Right? So what I have told, a block is in exclusive state if and only if the data is present in that CPU alone. But now it is going to send the data to the bus. So CPU4 can take the data. So once it is giving the data to CPU4, CPU3 and 4 will be having same data. It is not possible in the case of exclusive. So in order to accommodate that, the state of block is changed from exclusive to invalid. Why? Because once the write has been done, all the other blocks with the same data should be invalidated because we are using invalidation protocol. So once the write process has been done, it should invalidate all the other blocks which is having the same data. So in this case, what will happen? CPU3 will write the data to the bus. So CPU4 can read the data. So once the CPU4 is getting the data, what will happen to the block present in CPU3? It will be made as invalid. So once the data is given to CPU4, CPU3 block will be invalidated. Right. So what will happen? The final data is present in only in CPU4 because CPU3 is invalidated. So this happens because we have selected an invalidation protocol. So if the CPU3 finds the data is present in its own cache, it should change the state of its block from exclusive to invalid after sending the data to the bus. So that is 8th condition. Then let us take the 9th condition. In the 9th condition, what is happening? CPU2 finds that there is a write miss transaction on the bus. That is another CPU is finding that there is a write miss transaction. So what does it do? In my case, that block is in shared state. So now we are considering that CPU2 has found out the cache miss on the bus, and it identifies that it is having the actual data requested by CPU4, but now the state of that block is in shared. So it is in shared state. So again I told that after the write process, only one data should be available. So what should happen to the block present in CPU2? It should be taken to invalid state. Right, it should be taken to invalid state. So as you have taken the state of CPU3 from exclusive to invalid, similarly the state of CPU2 also should be taken from shared to invalid. Why it is going to invalid? Because once the write process has been completed by the corresponding CPU, that corresponding CPU address should be invalidated so that the data will be available ultimately only in one cache, that is cache associated with CPU4. Right. Then in the next scenario we are taking that CPU4 is getting a read hit. CPU4 is trying to read the data, but read is going to happen because data is available. And we consider that currently the data is in shared states. CPU4 is trying to read the data, but the data is available there. So there is no need of sending the transaction because data is available. It can read the data. But what will happen to the state of that data? Currently it is in shared state. Since it is in shared state, there is no need of changing the data because it is in shared state itself, so that other CPU can read it. There is no problem. Then there is no need of changing the state. Then we'll take the next scenario. Here CPU4 is trying to read and again it is a read hit, but in our case now we are considering that our block from which CPU need to read is in exclusive state. So the same thing will happen here also. If the block is in exclusive state and if CPU4 is trying to read the data, it need not change the states. Why it need not change the state? Previously I told that if you are reading from an exclusive state, it should change the state. But now why I am telling that we should not change the state? Because it is a read hit. Previously in say step number 2, CPU4 was trying to read from a block which is in exclusive state, but it was a read miss. In read miss, what does it happen? In CPU4, data is not there. That is why it is read miss. So we need to read the data from another CPU. So when you are reading the data from another CPU, the data will be already available in another CPU, say for example CPU3. Data will be available in CPU3, and after the read process, data will be available in CPU4 also. So in both the CPU, the same data will be available, but that cannot be allowed in an exclusive state block. If a state is in exclusive block, that data cannot be in two CPUs. So that we are changing the state of block from exclusive to shared. But here that is not the case. Here we are trying to read, the CPU4 is trying to read in its private cache, but the data is already there. So data is already there means there is no other requirement of any other cores to have the data, right? Because it is already available in its private cache. So it can directly read from the private cache. So the data is still available in CPU4 itself. So what will happen? That block need not change its state. It can be in its exclusive state itself because data is available there itself in the private cache itself. It need not send the data to some other CPU. Similarly, CPU 4 when it is performing to write, and if it is a write hit, the same thing will happen. Write hit means the data which it need to write is available in its block itself. Right, it is trying to write a data to an address location present in its block itself. The data is available, so it need not change the states because data is already available in its exclusive states. Then we will consider the 12th scenario. Here again CPU 4 is trying to write and it is a write hit. It is a write hit. But now we are considering that my state of block is in shared states. So CPU4 is trying to write and it is a write hit, but now my block of memory is in shared state. So whenever we need to perform a write, what I told, whenever we need to perform a write, and if it is in shared state, it should be ultimately changed to exclusive. So whenever we need to perform a write, ultimately the state should change to exclusive state. Whenever we need to read, ultimately the state should change to shared. This we should keep in mind. In the case of read, the state will be changed to shared, and in the case of write, state will be changed to exclusive. So in my case, the block of data was in the shared state, so it should be taken to exclusive states so that write process can happen. So these are the 12 scenarios in which the state transition can occur.